You know, the road to the playoffs can be stressful, so we figured why not slip into something a little more comfortable. Jonathan Jones, Joe Musso, Bryant McFadden, Patrick Peterson here to look at the road to Santa Clara, week 11 of 22, so we are certainly halfway home, fellas. We're starting in the AFC. The Chiefs now 2 games back of that 7 seed at 5-5, Mac. When we look at this team right now and the teams between them and not the division, but a wild card spot, how should we feel about the Kansas City Chiefs?
Well, they're in unfamiliar territory as a team, and the same can be said for us as fans watching the Chiefs over the last few years, especially with Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes. We're not accustomed to seeing the Chiefs currently in the midst of being in the middle of November, not in the playoff seeding. But there's still a glimmer of hope, not necessarily for winning their division, even though mathematically speaking, they still have a great chance to win their division, but getting one of those wild card spots, because when you look at the teams currently in the playoffs, how much faith and trust do we have in the Jacksonville Jaguars, even though they have a game in hand when they beat the Chiefs head up? The same can be said for the Los Angeles Chargers, who also have the same scenario. They have a game in hand because they beat Kansas City week 1. Both teams played each other this past weekend. Chargers didn't look good at all. And we still have our reservations with Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville, even though their defense was outstanding. So for me, it's about the Chiefs finding their rhythm, trying to establish a sense of identity running the football, and just allow Pat Mahomes to do Pat Mahomes-like things. So right now, they're in an unfamiliar spot, but there's still a lot of time for the Chiefs to get into the tournament.
Pat, a different type of experience, but so much experience in high-leverage situations for the Kansas City Chiefs. How does that serve them now as they sort of flip the switch and go into a playoff-type mode in Week 12?
Yeah, this is definitely must-win football for the Kansas City Chiefs right now. As we're looking at it right now today, they're just in the hunt. That's very, very unfamiliar territory for them, and as B-Mac said, as fans. So what I would like to see the Kansas City Chiefs do is, like we talked about in our post-game show, getting back to the run, having a solidified run game. Defense is keeping you in the ball game, but now we have to do a better job of protecting Patrick Mahomes. Yes, we know he likes to create extra time and things like that, but we have to find a way to keep him in the pocket in order for him to deliver the ball to his pass catchers down the field. We saw Travis Kelce kind of rewind the tape a little bit today, leading the Kansas City Chiefs right now in all-time touchdown passes. They're going to need more of that from him and others if they want to get out of this hole that they're in.
And it's a big spot coming up. JJ, we were talking a little bit off camera, you and I, we've long seen the Kansas City Chiefs similarly, that let's not hit the panic button until it's time to hit the panic button. Well, it's time to hit the panic button right now, and you got Indy coming up. What do you see when you look at that road ahead?
Well, I'm concerned about the Indy game because I still haven't seen it from the Chiefs, because I needed to see it against Buffalo. I didn't see it, right? And then they have the bye. Andy Reid is not supposed to lose coming off the bye. They lost today to Denver. And so now it's going to be a third contending team that you were facing this upcoming week that, you know, if you had split between these last 2 games, I'd feel a lot better. But I look at the schedule behind us, right? And what I see is no more margin for error. What I see, and B-Mac, you eloquently put this, where even if the Chiefs lose just one of these games, right, and they win out the rest, that's 11 wins. But you are competing in the wild card against teams that, like the Chargers, you would have split at that point. It's going to come down to divisional record. Jacksonville, you lost to. That stuff matters. And so, I think you're going to need at least 11 wins in the AFC. At least 11 wins. So that means out of this right here, they can only drop one of them, and they can only drop one to a certain team on here. So the Broncos, that next to last game of the season, the Broncos might be fighting for that 1 seed. So there's no more margin for error.
No margin for error, but there is proof of concept. We've seen them go on the road in that road to Vegas, where they won in Baltimore. They won in Buffalo. But the margin for error, as we said, gone. Let's talk about what is the current 1 seed in those Denver Broncos. Their best start to a season since their Super Bowl win all the way back in 2015. Pat P., I'm coming to you here. When you look at the road ahead for them, Commanders, Raiders, Packers, Jags, before that Christmas rematch with the Chiefs, do you see a 1 seed in Denver? The question that we've been asking is the quarterback going to be enough to complement that defense? But I guess we can push that forward after this win and ask, is this a team that might say it comes through us?
I mean, honestly, looking at this schedule, I can possibly see maybe 2 losses on there. You know, Green Bay, that's going to be a competitive game. You know, Chiefs going to want some get back. But I see them winning against the Commanders, winning against Las Vegas. I feel like they're a good enough team to beat the Jaguars. or they are to beat the Chargers early on in the year. So they are definitely in prime position, looking at their remaining of their schedule, to be the #1 seed out of the AFC.
Mac, how much belief did this win over Kansas City? I mean, this was a sticky one. This was tight in a big moment. It was great experience for Bo Nix to get this done, nearly 300 yards passing in this win over Kansas City. This is the type of win that makes you feel a certain way in the room in moving forward to that goal.
Yeah, I think this is who the Broncos are, the cardiac kids. They take things down to the wire, and they never blink. They're always comfortable, and they find ways to win these type ball games like they did today, like they did weeks ago against the New York Giants, you know. But I would like to see them put together a complete game, because they're too good of a team defensively to be in these spots, and Bo Nix is too good of a quarterback to kind of have these spurts as well. But when you look at the Broncos in the neighborhood they're living in potentially right now for that top seed, it's between the Broncos, the Colts, and the Patriots, right? I understand the Colts are on the bye. When you look at all three teams, total team effort, who do you trust, who do you believe in the most in terms of balance, offense, defense, special teams, and head coaching? That's the key for me. That's why I like the Broncos defensively. I'm not loving their offense. Then I look at other teams. I love the running game for the Colts. I don't love their quarterback in moments.
Okay.
When I look at the Patriots, I love their coach. I love their quarterback. And I like their defense.
Personnel grouping offensively?
There's a little more
Doing
love.
enough?
There's a little more love for me with the Patriots. And that's why I'm kind of siding with the Patriots. If I had to give a pick now, who could win that top spot? And oh, by the way, the Patriots have one of the easier schedules.
And that's the point, B-Mac. It's not even that you have to love Mike Vrabel. It's not even that you want to vote for Drake May for NFL MVP. It's who do you have in front of you? Because and what is your probability of winning those games? We just had it up behind us that the New England Patriots have the highest percent to make the playoffs right now with almost half the season remaining. It is because 98.6% to make the playoffs. It's because of the road in front of them, right? It's because they've taken care of business. And so whether or not you believe that the Patriots are going to keep this thing going in January, right, that the defense is going to hold up, that's not the question that Joe's asking. It's who's going to be the top seed in the AFC. And when I look at the Broncos' schedule and I see the last 4 games up against playoff contending teams and playoff caliber teams, the Patriots don't have that.
No question.
When I look at the Colts, they have playoff caliber and contending teams there. The Patriots don't have that. And so I don't think there's any doubt that the road in the AFC will be running through New England and Foxborough so long as New England can win.
And they know how to host them in that building. Let's shift our attention now to the NFC. A big-time result, fellas, on Sunday Night Football with the Detroit Lions falling to the Philadelphia Eagles. In turn, Philly all the way up to your top seed. The Lions, meantime, falling to 3rd in the NFC North and out of the playoff picture. Now, the road ahead for them allows them not just back into the playoff picture, but still the North could be won by this team in the Detroit Lions. Right now, not clicking on all cylinders. What do you see when you look at a team that could make their way back into not just the divisional race, but let's talk about the wild card. If it is a Detroit team that has to go on the road in January to some of these types of places.
Well, they better hope that they're playing at the Rams. They better hope that they're playing, in Tampa, right? Maybe the Niners, right? Like, they can't be out in the elements in the cold. And I know it's recency bias, perhaps, but we don't get to see Jared Goff outdoors that often. In cold weather environments, we don't see that often. What we just saw was not even all that cold, right? Like low 40s by the end of the night, and Jared Goff was a shell of himself. And so we know that the Lions are going to go as their quarterback goes, and their defense can stand up. Their defense played well, right? I think their defense will be able to travel. But we see the Lions' remaining schedule, and until that final Week 18 game at Chicago, that'll be the next time and perhaps the only time we see Jared Goff out in the elements. So I know we're harping on it, but we're harping on it because we're talking about January ball. And it is very likely that they are not going to have a home game in the friendly confines of Ford Field. They're going to be on the road, and they better hope that it is somewhere that is warm.
Yeah, 40 and breezy. They call that spring in Chicago. Not to say that it's going to go through Soldier Field, but currently at the top of the NFC North for the first time since 2020. Road to win the North. Is that still the favorite in your eyes in Detroit, despite where they currently situate 3rd behind Chicago and Green Bay?
Yeah, no disrespect to Green Bay and your Chicago Bears, but I still love the Detroit Lions to win the division because of their next 3 ball games. Their next 3 ball games all in Detroit, indoors. That's an opportunity.
Temperature control.
No question. That's an opportunity to stack wins on top of wins. And in the midst of that 3-game stretch, they're playing against the Green Bay Packers. So now you get an opportunity to kick some dirt on their hopes to win their division. So I understand it was a rough spot against the Eagles, primetime stage, but everything that they would like to have in front of them is still there.
Yeah.
And we might find out in the beginning of December, have a clear-cut picture on that division. Like I said, the next 3 games are very, very pivotal for the Detroit Lions. I mean, you have the Giants, you have Green Bay, and I can't remember the other game at home before you go back on the road. Before we know it, you see it there, look at the Cowboys, all winnable ball games. So now if you take care of those 3 games at home, you go on the road to the Rams, but you're indoors. Right? You have to like the makeup for the Detroit Lions. And oh, by the way, they will get healthier.
Yeah.
They're still missing some key contributors in the secondary.
Yep.
You know, they've been playing such a good football that we haven't really talked about some of the injuries. They will get healthier. So I think they're still in the spot to win this division.
And Mac, you're talking about, and JJ, you talked about, Jared Goff being in the elements. The next 6 games are in all controlled climate.
Yep.
Yeah.
So these next 6 games, he's
Pivotal.
gonna have to take
It's pivotal.
full control of that to be able to put them back in the position where they once were.
If we see issues there, then we might see issues beyond. Quick thought here, fellas. 3 out of the North. Am I crazy to think that that's a real possibility, JJ?
Nah, I don't think 3. I don't know if it's going to make it. I think that 1 loss for Green Bay might come back and haunt them. My opinion.
Yeah, I would agree with that. We're going to get at least 2 out of the NFC West.
For sure.
And I think if I'm having to choose between taking 1 out of the NFC North or some combination of Rams, Niners, Seahawks out, I'm not doing that. I can't do that. So it would be one of Packers, Lions, Bears that I would push out before I would do that to the NFC North.
It's going to be a fun road home. Join us right here on CBS Sports HQ for playoff breakdowns each and every Sunday. A look at your odds to win Super Bowl. What are we on? We're on 60?
The Chiefs still at
Super Bowl
plus
60? We got a good round 1? Eagles, your favorites at 5-1 money. The Rams next closest at 6-1. The Chiefs still a belief. They did enter the day as favorites after this loss to the Broncos, sliding to 10-1 money, just in front of those teams.
13 and not even.
They over the
Max sees
Steelers,
something he
man.
likes.
They said they're still going to win.
Disrespect.
All right, on the other side of the ledger, there is a look at the 2026 NFL draft order. As the dust came to rest on those at the bottom, the Titans again, perhaps on the clock
Joe,
after
can I say
selecting
something?
first overall. Bryant McFadden, please, always.
It should be malpractice that the Rams are currently at 8. Atlanta, what are you doing?
Look, you get it where you can get it.
Well, Atlanta certainly thought that
They'll be higher.
they'd be talking about being in the playoff hunt right now.
11 down, a whole bunch more to go.